Hello and welcome to Wingot Plays Nomifactory. Today the plan is to get working on getting our space station up and running because I'm wanting to effectively rebuild the base, and I've got an idea for a mega base design that I have been playing around with in creative, but I want to build it up in space is basically the plan. Yes, the space station and the warp core and such are not required for progression, but with the current plans for what I want to do for the base aesthetically, that's what we're going to have to work on. So, space station assembler, space station ID chip, and a satellite bay. We're going to need at least each of those, and so let's get looking into it. So for this one we're going to need some titanium heavy plating. I've already taught the system how to make that, so let's just make 10 of that, go. We need 4 EV robot arms, which are here. We needed, I forget what else we needed. We needed emitters and machine structures. Where are the emitters? Have I not taught the system how to make EV emitters? I see, that's the problem. Okay. EV emitter is there. Haven't we replaced that with the microprocessor array? Yeah, there. Okay, make one of those. Oh, okay. It doesn't know how to make these anymore, but it was because they were still in the system, it was trying to use them. And then the recipe would have broken eventually as well. But for now, we can probably, let's see if we can manually craft a couple of these. No, because we need platinum rods, which we do know how to make. No crafting CPUs available. That one's being used. That one's making the nichrome coil blocks. That one is working on tungsten steel. That one is making titanium heavy plating. Robot arms, fine. What is that trying to make? Oh, the array. Huh, okay. I guess we are using all of the processors. These are being used, well, effectively only that first one's being used towards the base design. The others, so I've got the nichrome blocks being made, although that does seem to have been stuck for a very long time. I'm guessing, I think that wire mill is waiting on this because this is making a stupid amount of lead wire. And that's, I think, using the same wire mill that this nichrome is waiting on. But yeah, I've made like 200 nichrome coil blocks so that we can rebuild the furnaces in the new base, and I'll aim to sort of passively automate things as well, because at the moment, whenever we want anything, we pretty much have to request it and then wait on it to actually craft. Other than the 4 things that we did actually bother to automate, which are over here: the modularium, the vibrant alloy, the energetic alloy, and the annealed copper, all of which have actually been turned off or have not been working for some time because of the power issues that we had. So with the new base, the first priority will be expanding on the power effectively, and then where are we? Where's the base put there? Stop. Okay. I've expanded these to a hardened tier and put in some auxiliary transmission coils, but it still is struggling to keep up. And the diamonds have not moved. They've always been 32K. So I think that we had enough shulkers producing diamonds that we could go further. We just needed to put in the auxiliaries and the upgraded tier for those numismatic dynamos. But even still, we are not quite struggling with power, but we definitely do not have much in the way of expansion capability from a power perspective. So working on power is going to be sort of the next plan. Now, in the meantime, what were we working on? We were working on making the emitters, which they probably also are waiting on the platinum rods. Let's look at go here, aluminium cable. I just saw that. Like 100 of those. Tungsten steel is fine. These titanium plates aren't being made because of that. This is making the micro array. Actually, that's making the micro array. That other one's making the robot arms. That's got 2,500 silver plates to make, and it's still got more lead wire. So how about we cancel that, and we will come back to it later. And then we will see what we can do about... We'll take those lead ingots out, and then that will be able to process our nichrome. Good, and that will get things progressing. Over here, this alloy smelter is being used to make dark steel. I think that probably should be fine. None of these look like they're being used. I'm just going to see what I can do about removing the bottlenecks. Redstone, iron, that's making red alloy. No, it's making conductive iron. And I don't think any of those others seem to be running. So I think it was mainly these lead ingots. Yeah, good. Nichrome's finishing up. The plates, they were being made in a compressor. Show me you. Titanium plates are made in that compressor over there. So why are you stuck? Because it's compressing silver ingots. For what? I don't think it's compressing the silver for anything that we're currently trying to build. So let's take those out and get the titanium going. Perfect. Good. Now that should get everything that we're currently trying to build up and running. And we'll come back to the big job that I was working on before. Now that's IV that I've just clicked on, EV. Oh yeah, we didn't actually give it the job to make the aluminium cables because we didn't have space in the CPU storage. One thing I did do just before this episode started was I expanded this crafting storage here. It's now got 364s and 316s, so it's got 240k worth of storage space, and we're putting a stupid little aluminium cable job in it, but it allows us to do extremely big jobs if needed. That said, with the rebuild, where we will try to pacify everything, it should mean that there will be less big tier recipes if we've got all of the basically components being automatically made passively. But for the time being, it's sort of required for something that I'm trying to work on. Yeah. Good, it is making the aluminium cables, tungsten steel. It's still crafting away, that's fine. Titanium heavy platings, Did I ever give it a job to make platinum rods? It does say crafting, so hopefully it should start working. There you go. 2 done, perfect. Now let's have a look here. So we needed 2 emitters. and more microprocessor arrays. And what was that in the middle? We need a Advanced Assembly Machine 3 EV. Okay. Just waiting. Oh, there we go. Grab 2 emitters. Perfect. Actually, we'll grab those 2 emitters out. We need the robot arms. Oh. We need those titanium heavy plates, which 10 should be the right amount. We need machine structures, which we've got all that we need. We're going to need some microprocessor arrays. Although, what we could do is we could use up the last of our refined processor mainframes. Yeah, because we can use 3 of those. We need an advanced assembling machine. EV conveyors and robot arms. Well, we're still waiting on those. Conveyors, EV, good, we've got those. Make 2 of those. Perfect. EV machine hull. Only 100 bytes for this job, but it can't start because we don't have space for it. Although we will soon. That aluminium cable job's almost finished. The conveyors here, basically it's just using the wire mill there. Tungsten steel ingot will take a while. The 4 microprocessor arrays are just sort of working away there. The 1, how about we cancel that 1? And this is making the robot arms. So, I want you to craft that. In fact, if we do this, then we should be able to see everything on the 1 tab. EV machine hull there. Conveyors are ready. Robot arms are still working, and in fact, we're going to need 2 more. It's ready, and there's our EV machine hull. So, yep, good. Oops. Good. So now the only thing we should need is these robot arms EV. Oh, that's a microprocessor. We need microprocessor mainframes. That's costly. Okay, so we need 2 of those. Make that go. And let's see. Microprocessor mainframes, they'll take a while, but in the meantime we'll make some spare microprocessor arrays and more arrays, robot arms. This here must be making, yeah, it's making robot arms, not arrays. Okay. So, effectively we're just waiting on that to finish, and then we're also going to need the mainframes. So in the meantime, let's look what else we can do. So Space Station ID chip is going to need fine titanium wire. I suspect the system doesn't actually know how to make that yet. So let's teach it how to make fine titanium wire in a wire mill. Perfect. Now that goes there. Good. And then black steel plate. Refined processor mainframes, well, we've got those, so now we can just tell it make 20 of that. Oh, it doesn't yet know how to make titanium wires, so teach it to do that as well. And I do notice we just ran out of patterns here, but we've got almost 4 stacks sitting there, so I think we'll be fine. Let's swap these around. Okay, and make 20 of that. Go. Actually, swapping those around won't make any difference because this is the same wire mill. I think would be better to do that. Okay, we've got 1 robot arm. Ooh, what happened there? Oh, no, that's fine. And those have been made, so now we should be able to just make that refined process mainframe. Perfect. Good, so we've got the station chip. We need a satellite bay, which looks very easy to do. We just need to craft some titanium rods. Perfect. And then we just need the space station assembler, which, if we pop over to here, arguably we've got most of what we need. Okay, now it's emitters in the top and bottom, and then refined processor mainframes. Let's just double check. Yep, refined processor mainframe, perfect. And then we also need a screen, which should be very easy to make. Good. Okay, let's go there. Good. Now we just need a advanced assembling machine in the middle there, and then the 4 robot arms. Which we're still waiting on that robot arm. Where's it up to? Okay, that's not yet even started making the microprocessors or the processor assemblies. Okay. One of the robot arms there is completely stalled, probably because that one's crafting. And that needs microprocessor arrays as well. At this point, we are really being limited, I think, by the fact that all of these machines are MV tier. And as part of the new base, I'm going to be replacing this setup here with EV tier, because we've gotten access to EV over here. Like, all of the machines over here are EV, and so I'm thinking we'll replace the whole main processing system with the on-demand system with EV, but at the same time I'll also replace as much as I can with passive crafting. And the EV is going to substantially increase our power demands, which, as I said before, we are getting to the point that we're struggling with power demands. Anything that can produce over 4,500 is capping out. I don't quite get why these ones are producing so much less than those ones. And the only real difference is that power output 1600, power output 4500, those both have the same number of auxiliary transmission coils. So why, yeah, it doesn't seem to make sense to me. But in the meantime, let's, still waiting on robot, let's look there. Still waiting on the mainframes as well. Okay, well, in that case, there's nothing else we can progress on there with the space station assembler. So let's take a look what else. So the EV assembling machine, that probably is worthwhile working on, except that's actually what we're trying to make our space station assembler. So I'm arguably going to need to make a second one. Actually, look at this. Okay, good. The EV assembling machine can be made just in the standard molecular assembler. Perfect. And so when this is done, I'll tell it to make our advanced assembling machine as well, because we're going to need at least a couple of those up top side. But Nano CPUs needs carbon fibers. Okay, let's work on this. Palladium. I think we've got palladium in the system somewhere. Okay, so we've got palladium dust, but not palladium. So what we could do is tell the system that to make a palladium ingot, all you have to do is blast furnace. Huh. Okay. And then we'll see what we can do about finding. How long is that going to take, actually? 30 seconds. Okay. finding an interface that we can free up some space. This one here, that'll do. How much palladium did we need again? Well, we just need at least one for this job. Let's tell it to do 20. There it is, yep. Good, and it's working away, fine. Okay. And in fact, this one we will put back into the system. There we go, good. Still waiting on the robot arm. Okay, so palladium is done. I would have thought it would have finished crafting one of them by now. There we go, there's one. Perfect. Now, next step is we need carbon fibres. Carbon fibres are useful for a variety of things. To make them, you should use an HV autoclave or better to ensure a 100% chance of producing them as a chanced output with a best base success rate of 85% at NV. Because they are a chanced output, you also need to take care not to let this machine's output fill up. It will continue to process voiding any outputs. Fine. So, raw carbon fibres, carbon dust, palladium. 1 millibucket of palladium. Okay, so let's pop over to our HV. I don't think we've got an autoclave anywhere in any of this. So, let us make an HV autoclave, which is this one here. So we're going to need some microprocessors. Give me one of those. No crafting CPU. Okay. Stainless steel plates. Okay, I think the easiest option is just going to be to tell the system how to make the advanced autoclave. We'll take it back out later, but for now, let's set that to that, and then I want you to make an autoclave in the background. Good, so we've got everything we need to make it. Let me just cancel one of these. We need the mainframes. We need at least one robot arm. Arguably, we don't need these microprocessor arrays. 4 robot arms. Okay, let's cancel the single robot arm job. Good. And then we want to tell it to make an autoclave. Go. I think that should be able to probably even craft the whole thing without getting stuck. I might get stuck on these processor assemblies. Speaking of, let's actually pop over here and make sure that we haven't just run out of soldering alloy, which we have. That's why everything's taking absolutely forever. No! No! Give me a tank. Well, thankfully that palladium didn't move on. There we go, soldering alloy. Good. So now the various micro circuit recipes will actually be able to craft now that we've put some soldering alloy back into there. Stupid. Look at this. How much does it use? 144. Yeah, okay. And each of these makes 144. Each of them is a single. Okay. Okay, all good. So now that we've got things actually moving again, we don't have the robot arm. But let's see. Autoclave, still making a stainless steel, which is in one of the blast furnaces. Probably the blast furnace that we already had doing a job. Because of course it is. I wonder if we could just... We've got stainless steel there. No, I think we'll leave it for now. As soon as that finishes, we should then have access to our HV autoclave, and we are also going to need a fluid extractor. That's what it's called. HV tier. Perfect, and that's going to need microprocessors as well. Which, let's just tell it to make 10. Okay, that's waiting on circuits. That's trying to make microprocessor arrays. And that's trying to make robot arms. Okay, for now. Well, where's the autoclave? We're just waiting on this machine more than anything. But unfortunately, each of the mainframes uses 8 of the processors, because it uses 2 of the arrays, and it uses 4 of the arrays, which use 4 of the processors each. So it uses 16 of each of the processors. And let me actually take a look here. Let's grab some more solder. Good. And throw that in there. I really should automate that, because arguably I'm replacing all of this fairly soon with the EV tier build, but it is limiting me at the moment. But we're out of drilling fluid. That's probably, missing fluid. It's got plenty of pipes. Okay, we can get oil back up and running when we need to, but for the time being, how is this going? Has it made the, not motors, it's the rotor. No. What's the robot arm called? Robot. Good. So, if we pop back upstairs, what were we trying to build? We were trying to build advanced assembling. Ooh, it's made the 2 mainframes. Okay. So now we're just waiting on one more robot arm. Okay. Anyway, let's take a look here. So, space station, we're working on that. Warp core, working on fibre reinforced epoxy, nano CPUs, nano circuits, and EV assembling machine, and carbon fibre. Well, carbon fibre is required for the nano CPUs, but EV assembling machine. Perfect. Fibre reinforced epoxy. Fibre reinforced epoxy. It's right there on our to-do list. But when this is... Okay, we're still waiting on another robot arm. Yep. We've made some microprocessors. We definitely needed more than just that one, though, from what I remember. It was for the autoclave, which we've told the system to make. But it's waiting because it's trying to make the robot arms, which looks like it's most of the way done. Because as soon as those processor assemblies are done, then it just needs to make 4 microprocessor arrays, and then it can give us the robot arms. And then once that's done, there is nothing holding up that autoclave from being made either. So we might be able to get both the space station assembler and at least the carbon fibers knocked out this episode. I don't quite know about the Nano CPU. I'm actually not sure what's involved in it. But there we go. The robot arms have been finished, finally. Oops, I actually didn't want to take that into my inventory. But let's... Oh, I do need to grab it. So, the assembling machine... Oh, why do we have 2? You're telling me I'd already made one? The system knows how to make... Oh, fine. Yep, EV assembling machine. I agree. I'm in the wrong table. And then that goes there. And then... What goes in the corners? Robot arms. Oh. So we're going to need to make one more robot arm then. Go. Perfect. And let's take a look here. We can grab that autoclave. So. Perfect. There's our space station assembler. Yay! So now let's pop over to oil processing. I actually want to be upstairs here. Let's maybe just pop it here. Thank you. Is to assembling the machine that unlocks nano circuits, as well as handling circuits requiring up to 2048 EU. It can also optionally overclock recipes up to 512 EU for improved speed at the cost of relatively more power. Fine. Warp core needs dilithium. Yeah, give me a moment. I'm just going to try to figure out what I need to do with the launch pad here. I just don't remember. It's been so long since I did applied rocketry. And welcome back. I've played around for a bit and believe I've figured out what needs to happen. You basically need a satellite bay in the space station assembler with a space station ID chip, and then you build another launch pad and build your space station there. Then you scan it all, which puts it inside of the satellite bay, and then you launch the satellite using just a standard rocket like we already built to go to the moon. And I believe that'll work even though we've built to the very edges. But yeah, I basically built that room there with an oxygen scrubber, carbon capacitor in the middle there with a couple of solar panels. So everything is now here on this space station container, and we've got this space station ID chip as well. We'll put away the spare stuff that we don't need with us. We don't need that fluids tank for sure. And then we will... Oh, we've got our spacesuit on. So let's head to the overworld and look what we can do about sending this space station up into orbit. I probably should make sure that I'm set up to get back home though. So we've got that. We've got a dislocator so that we can set a space station pedestal here. Let's make it line up properly. There we go. We'll grab another pedestal. We need to craft another dislocator. Perfect. And then we can set this. Shift click to bind. Yep. So we can set that there. And so that is going to be our control room. I need a level. Oh. There we go. And that one's bound, this one's unbound, but let's see if we can set that to space station. Again, we need to grab a level. Space station. Don't I have a level? No. Weird. Space station. There we go. So this one's bound to our control room here, and we've got a spare dislocator pedestal. Perfect. So if we head back to the overworld where our rocket launch station is, then we should be able to pop over here and interact with the rocket here, which we don't seem to be able to place. The space station container and the planet ID chip. So maybe I need to add a satellite bay or something onto here in order to actually launch it. Just a moment. Okay, that is what we needed. So we needed to add a satellite bay to our rocket to be able to place the space station container. Oh, satellite bay, space station container. Perfect. And then we want to we want to go to orbit. Like, we don't want to go to lunar. We just want to destination Earth. No coordinates. Well, let's give this a try and see how it goes. Will this just take us into orbit of Earth, or is this just going to fail? Destination Earth. Guidance computer. Planet ID chip Earth. What if we change the Planet ID chip to space station? Destination station 2. Okay, that might work. Oh, I'm out of fuel because I rebuilt the rocket. So what I need is that linker, which is here, to link this fueling station to the rocket assembling machine there. Good. The fuel doesn't seem to be going out, so I suspect we're out of rocket fuel. Let's just quickly grab that. Oh, actually, I think I have set up a system to automatically make rocket fuel tanks. It should work, so long as there's rocket fuel in the system. Yep. One sec. Let's go have a look and see if the system was just out of rocket fuel or something. So down here, this one here, rocket fuels, there's 16 there, it's completely full. So the problem must be that it's not properly getting the signal here, telling it to export, or I've screwed up the colors. Input on brown. You should be extract, output brown, strong signal, no, active with signal. Extract always active on green, is that the wrong color? Extract always active on black. Perfect, okay. So it was already set to work correctly. It just needed to be set to actually extract. So now if we grab that rocket fuel, we should be able to put it here on top of our rocket, push on top of our fueling station, and then good, that's full. And if we check on this, this is not getting fuel. Linked. Okay, let's try linking it instead to the rocket. Still doesn't want to work. What am I doing wrong? That's rocket fuel. Oh, this is out of power. Give me another capacity. In fact, give me a random solar panel. That will not work because this leaves in the way. Perfect. Light level 78. Perfect. Now you should have some power and you should be able to transfer fuel now. Good. Now if we pop back into here, I think the fuel is filling up, but slowly. So what we could do in the meantime is probably, I don't think we've got a capacitor with any power in it, is the thing. And we don't have any other solders that I can put down. No network power. Weird. I don't know what happened there. A2 lose power temporarily? Don't know. %, light level. Still transferring fuel. Yeah. So we're just having to wait on power. I do wonder if I can speed that up by grabbing like a random capacitor, filling it up with power and just bringing it over here. You give me... Systems actually try... Oh, I thought it was all the system to make Fibres. I might just grab a basic quickly and then tell it to make 2 Fibres. Perfect. And we can grab that basic, put it here, and it should charge fairly quickly. I find this is what advanced rocketry is always like. You just spend so long screwing around trying to figure out every single time how it all properly works and trying to get things up and running just so you can finish what seemed like a fairly simple job. So if we pop this here, that should, there you go, that's full of power. Good. And then this is filling up fairly rapidly. Perfect. And I suspect that should be plenty of fuel. So let's take off and see if we can actually get this space station into space this time. Okay, we at least took off. That's a good start. And we do have our spacesuit on, because as I said, that's something I always tend to forget. Come on, it's far enough. Perfect. Now apparently we're landing in planes. Okay, good. Now it says space. Okay. And that looks like what we built. Perfect. And we're just going to land straight on top of it. Perfect. Now if we pop off, We just left creative flight, perfect. And we go into our airlock, and here we go, perfect. Now, check on new oxygen trace. What's going there with that conduit connector? Weird. But we are now in space. We have applied logistics access. Although, weird. And so if we take a look here at X-tones, we can grab out, there we go, we can grab our Zest, and we'll be able to build with it. Perfect. So now that I finally have the space station up and running, I think I'm going to spend quite a while working up the base design that I've been planning to do for quite a while now, and I will see you in the next one. Stay happy and healthy, and I hope to see you there.